best known business people in this part of the world, if not beyond, Dr. Allan Zeman, who's on the phone. Just buy, just say buy, sell, buy. That's a first. That's an absolute first. Allan, welcome to Live Matters. Thank you so much for joining.
Good to be here. I said sorry, it was the SCMP on the phone calling for an interview, so I said I have a previous one.
Yeah, you're mine. You're mine.
Yeah, okay.
Allan, so we're talking about avatars. So you're an Allan-tar. Now tell us, there's a lot of people here who know who you are, but we do have a lot of overseas guests here, and if anyone has just landed from Mars, give us an update on the LKF group, and I think specifically your interest in the events business in Hong Kong, the Greater Bay Area, and beyond.
Well, basically, LKF, I started Lan Kwai Fong 35 years ago. It was just a street in Central. For those of you that are just new to Hong Kong, you must have heard about it. You know, it was an entertainment area. It was one of the early days. The British were here in those days. There were not a lot of places to get a meal or even for entertainment. And so I just thought Hong Kong has such an international crowd doing business. We need a place like Lan Kwai Fong where people can meet, greet after work. Everyone works hard, but they play hard at night in Hong Kong. And so I thought, why not do something like that? And so we put together a number of restaurants. I started to buy up the property in the area, and it suddenly became a very vibrant and hot area with very good restaurants, very good clubs, many different kinds of establishments, and it started to attract a lot of people. And then we did a lot of events. I realized a place like that where you have so many eyeballs, you need to have some events. And we were the first ones to start Halloween in Hong Kong. No one ever knew what Halloween was. I came from America where Halloween was. The British at that time had no idea what Halloween was. So we had a few, the Westerners, the Guilos, got dressed up and in costumes on Halloween evening. And you know, some of the Chinese came and thought, what's going on here? This is not correct. And so from there, the next year, more and more Chinese started to dress up, and years to follow. I think Hong Kong is now one of the Halloween capitals of the world, basically. And I introduced it to Ocean Park. I was also the chairman of Ocean Park for 13 years. My claim to fame was I beat Disney for 13 years in a row, which had never been done by a local theme park. And that was quite an achievement. And Forbes magazine did an article. I became known as the Mouse Killer, and that's my nickname, basically. And so, you know, in general, you know, events just followed. You know, a city like Hong Kong that attracts so many people from all over the world, and including mainland China, we need the more events in Hong Kong, the better. That's what a city's all about. Lifestyle, entertainment, you know, metaverse is one thing, but we do physical events where people can really enjoy themselves, come out and leave this and enjoy themselves. And so that was basically what I do. We've continued to go from strength to strength. I just came back from Shenzhen yesterday. We just signed a deal in the Greater Bay Area. We're going to be doing, it's a big deal. Everybody wants Lan Kwai Fong right now. I've got so many Chinese cities coming right after, I guess since China opened. Everybody's starved for Lan Kwai Fong style entertainment places, and it's become a true brand, especially in China and all over the world. And so I signed a deal. We're doing the first one in Shenzhen and also in Zhongshan, and then we'll just it'll be 15 minutes outside of Shenzhen, and it just continue. I've inundated all over. Yesterday there was some government people from Shanghai last night. I was there, but some of my staff took them around. They're dying for me to go to Shanghai. You know, so it's a good thing. It's a brand that was born in Hong Kong, and seems to have legs.
Have you ever tried to work out the collective number of hangovers you're responsible for in this? everyone has their favourite.
Not only hangovers, we're responsible for a lot of weddings, a lot of divorces. We can't talk about more than that, but
children, if you get very lucky,
and children as well. But we could actually write a book about some of the things that Lan Kwai Fong is famous for. But
let's divert the entire conversation.
Oh, exactly. Well, I'll tell you one funny story that many people don't really know, that because now LGBT is such a big thing. When I first started Lan Kwai Fong, there was a club called Disco Disco that was the forerunners of clubs, very, very popular, except it was what's known as a gay club. In those years when the British were here, it was illegal to be gay, and they used to get raided by the police on a nightly basis, which is something I could never understand, because I grew up in the fashion business and my whole life was with people of all genders, and whatever they believed in was fine. And so that was really something that was very startling to me, and thank God after the British left, after '97, it's now legal to be part of the LGBT community, and I think the gay games coming will be very, very good for Hong Kong as well.
And we have Brett Free here, who is one of the managers, and we have DJ Andrew Bull here as well, who's going to be spinning later of disco fame.
My old partner.
There you go.
He was a partner.
Now, Alan, I listened to an interview you gave on RTHK just this week. I was listening live. Hong Kong. I was the listener. Hong Kong.
At least we had one listener.
I hope James Ross is here. We're talking about Hong Kong reopening a lot today, and you were talking. It was just before the mask ban was lifted. They actually announced it live during the interview that the mask ban was lifted.
I knew it was coming, but I couldn't say it.
Okay. Well, thank you on behalf of everyone here for getting rid of the masks. You mentioned, however, that Hong Kong, and to quote you, you said Hong Kong is presently running last in a number of areas, and it's used to being first.
Correct.
So can you? And it's brilliant to hear such honest opinion about where Hong Kong is, and I agree with you on a lot of that. And it's been happening for 10 years. It's nothing to do with the pandemic. Oh shit! $100. Sorry, we've got a swear box that goes to charity. So if you say any of the 3 P's: pandemic, politics, or pivot. Okay, so that's me $300 again. So it goes to the wonderful.
I have $1,000 in my pocket, so I can say.
Oh, fantastic! Doesn't divide. Yeah, okay, it's 10 times. So can you see Hong Kong coming back? And if so, what are the challenges, and where do you think the solutions lie?
Well, I think that definitely Hong Kong is still a great city. To me, it's one of the best cities, if not the best city in the world. We did take a rest for a while, and I don't want to criticize previous administration, but I will. And basically, we had real problems, especially entertainment business, and with clubs closed, bars closed, and obviously Hong Kong was the last one. Especially the masks were the last thing that really stopped everything. And I thought to myself, this is not right. We always did lead in everything. People used to love Hong Kong and say, wow. Unfortunately, we've gotten involved in a political spat whereby the West now, a place like the US, is coming up against China. And Hong Kong, of course, is part of China now, and so it's collateral damage. We get branded, and if you watch the news, so much BS, and I hope I don't have to pay 100 for that word.
It's a B word. That's a B word. That's not a P word.
Okay. But so much BS is in the news, really, and things that really infuriate me if you just watch CNN or any of those things. And it's all falsehoods and trying to create an impression to the world that we're really closed. And that's the one thing that bothered me about the masks, because I'm on the committee for Hello Hong Kong and Happy Hong Kong. I kept saying to the government, how could this be? I'm supposed to be the one going forward and telling them what a great place that Hong Kong has opened up. But I said I had a reporter here from France doing an interview for NTI, which is the French national TV station that everybody watches in France. And I had him out in Lan Kwai Fong one night after a 2-hour interview, and everybody's walking around in masks at the time. And what kind of story can you give that we're open when the whole world was open? That's what I said to the government. I said, it doesn't make sense to me that we're stuck with this. And so they listen. And the one thing I'll say about our President Chief Executive, John Lee, he does listen. And he really means to do the right thing. And he listens to the so-called health experts and everyone else, but he'll make the decision at the end. It's his decision. And he was really the one that came up with, okay, enough for the masks. And I said, now we can really be a happy Hong Kong and tell the real story. Now, how do you go forward? Okay, one of the big things around the world is the airport authority coming up with 800,000 free airline tickets to Hong Kong. Now that made a big impression. No other city in the world has ever done something like that. When I was doing my interview with the French TV company, the reporter showed me, we just announced the 800,000 airline tickets, and we just showed, and she showed me her mobile phone, and every newspaper in France had Hong Kong to issue 800,000 free airline tickets. And that was news everywhere. And no other country's ever done that, and that was brilliant. I mean, I sat on the airport authority for 7 years, so when we were talking about that, it was just done pre-C days, you know, not P days, but pre-COVID days, and basically that really was a great idea to help the airlines, because some of the airlines are really having a difficult time. And now, so that makes a big thing. That's one thing that gets people talking about. And now with the mask, that's also gone around the world. I talked to a lot of people overseas, and oh, I see you're not wearing masks anymore. And so Hong Kong takes its place. And then for this coming year, there's 130 events planned for this coming year.
This month?
Well, this month, exactly, almost. Clock and Flap, which is a great event, you know, something that I think was born in Hong Kong, and really has a lot of legs and attracts a lot of musicians from all over the world. And I remember when they first started, and it's really taken off. And so they're coming, they're kind of the first thing, and thank God we don't have to wear masks. I was worried about for Clock and Flap, people be sitting there with masks, and it just can never get the atmosphere.
We had the brief to the photographer for today originally was, I don't want to see anyone wearing a mask. Otherwise I have to do an event celebrating the opening of Hong Kong.
Yeah. And then of course, I'll just read out a few of the events that are coming. You know, Rugby Sevens is another huge event now. And you know, we had a small sevens just before. And the good thing is, Chief Executive came to give the cup away and took the mask off. I was sitting right with him, and he took the mask off, threw it away, and had a beer. So it was the first bright light, hope, you know. And so, and then the after parties, you have Lan Kwai Fong, you know, and Wan Chai, all the other areas, Causeway Bay, that really benefit a lot from the events that are carried in, and it's countries from all over the world. And that's the way to get the word out, because when they come here and they say, wow, what a great time we had, that's the best advertising. All the rest, hello Hong Kong, happy Hong Kong, it's okay. But it's not what I call, you know, one of the taglines that they have in Hello Hong Kong is seeing is believing. That, I think, is something really important. Come here, for those of you that are from out of town, that have come in for this, you can go back and tell the people, wow, Hong Kong is back. And I really do feel Hong Kong is back. I mean, our numbers in Lan Kwai Fong since December, January, February, have been record. Pre-COVID days, yeah, really, I'm very surprised. Almost every night. I don't know where the people are coming from, but there's a lot of, you know, after locals are there, a lot of mainlanders and Taiwanese, believe it or not, are in town and spending money. And no, it's a great event. And so, that's another thing that'll be good. Savoring Art, the Art Basel, another very, very important event for Hong Kong. These bring people from all over, tourists from all over the world, and they go back and they tell the story. So Japanese festivals, Halloween, Wine and Dine, the Hong Kong Gay Games.
Live Matters.
Live Matters for sure. And so these are so many things that will really tell the real story. And so I believe that Hong Kong really, we have a great future ahead of us. I think that you being in the brand management, I think will be great. I think there'll be a lot. It's been a long time in coming, but I really think we can really start having a number of very, very good years for everyone sitting here.
We're going to talk about where you think Hong Kong can be, but before that, there have been announcements of some grants for the event business.
Yeah.
A lot of people here can benefit. Are you able to explain any of the grants and how people could benefit from them?
Well, the government has given $100 million for attracting mega events to Hong Kong. And
this is a mega event, and we have a drone.
Yeah, and this is a mega event, exactly. I think the government sent a drone to make sure that this is a real event.
Oh yeah, that was, by the way,
it's not on the metaverse.
That is our drone. It's not anyone looking at us. That's $100, isn't it?
Yeah. But in essence, I really do think that they've given out that, and then the HKTB, the Hong Kong Tourist Board, also has been given $250 million to stage international events. And of course, if you have an event that you think is doable and good and will benefit Hong Kong, just apply. Apply to the government, apply to the HKTB, or the government, exactly outlining exactly what you have, what's coming, how much money you need, what you are investing, what grant you need from them, and just the details. And basically, that's what they're set up to do.
Fantastic. I mean, I've been here for nearly 30 years. They did the mega event fund. Let's not talk about that. That's probably another $100 fine for me as well. But it's great but private enterprise can now work with the government, with grants.
Well, this government needs private enterprise to work with them. They know that they can't just handle it themselves. It's got to be community participation. And that's the one thing I like about this government, because they're real. They really mean it. It's not just because I'm part of it now, and it's not just talk.
Okay, so this is a toast to the future, Allan, and so honoured and humbled to have you with us. What do you think is exciting for the immediate future of Hong Kong? I mean, we talked about the events and stuff. This doesn't have to be events.
No, exactly. I mean, Hong Kong's future, I can tell you, is the GBA, the Greater Bay Area. You're talking about 11 cities in Hong Kong. For those of you who don't know, it's southern China. It's 11 cities in Hong Kong. Taiwan, Hong Kong, Shenzhen, Macau, and Guangzhou are the 4 key cities, and then 7 support cities in the Guangdong area. And you talk about 86 million people, all within an hour-and-a-half radius from Hong Kong by high-speed rail. Hong Kong to Shenzhen today on the high-speed rail is 14 minutes, 1-4. So it actually, I joke around with the press, I say it's faster to go to Shenzhen than to go to my house in Hong Kong. I mean, basically, sitting in traffic. I came from Shenzhen yesterday, and through the border and all that, it took me exactly 1 hour by car, and so it's, you don't think about it. You think it's China or whatever, but it's Hong Kong and China together. So the Greater Bay Area will be 86 million people. We're going from 7.5 million people to 86 million people. And in 2021, they had a GDP of 1.9 trillion US dollars, almost 2 trillion US dollars, the 9th largest GDP in the world. And that's right on our doorstep. And that's happening, because that was supposed to happen before the COVID, and what's happening now that everything is finished, the government is really pushing to make this happen. John Lee is going to, just went to Shenzhen and Guangdong and Macau. He's in Macau today. And so this is definitely happening. I said we're doing Lan Kwai Fong, signed a deal yesterday. We'll do 16 of them eventually in the Greater Bay Area. Yeah, 16. And so we really have big plans, because you've got people with money that are on your side, and the young generation. Shenzhen has the average age in Shenzhen used to be 27, it's now 30. And plus, Shenzhen is all about technology. So Hong Kong and Shenzhen would be working closely together, especially, technology is the future. IoT is the future of the world. AI and all the other, all the other new things that keep popping up all the time. Chat, GPT, every other day there's a new thing, metaverse and something else. And so I really believe that going forward, Hong Kong has a great future ahead of it. Very great. And China as well is on steroids. Really good. So don't believe the press, don't believe what you see and all the other nonsense in the world. I could tell you with my own eyes, it's coming.
I think with that, what an amazing way to end an event about celebrating the events business, celebrating the reopening of one of the greatest places in the world. Yeah. We talked about more events, the better, Hong Kong being the best city in the world. We talked about Happy Hong Kong. We talked about $350 million out there for us to enjoy. Clock and Flap, who are warming up at the moment, we can hear the sound checking, and the Greater Bay Area being 86 million. So definitely a toast to the future. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a big Live Matters round of applause to Dr. Allan Zeman.